वालेकुम स्टूडेंट्स। आज ग्रॉस एनाटमी में हमारा टॉपिक है मिडल ईयर। एक्सटर्नल ईयर आप लोग पढ़ चुके हैं लास्ट वीक में। मिडल ईयर इज़ आल्सो कॉल्ड टिम्पेनिक कैविटी और टिम्पेनम। दिस इज़ एन इरेगुलर एयर फिल्ड स्पेस इन द पीटरस पार्ट ऑफ टेम्पोरल बोन। हमने पढ़ी थी ऑस्टियोलॉजी ऑफ क्रेनियल कैविटी और उसके अंदर हमने पीटरस पार्ट ऑफ टेम्पोरल बोन पढ़ा था। तो ईयर इज़ लोकेटेड इन द पीटरस पार्ट ऑफ temporal bone. It lies between the external ear and inner ear. It is cubical in shape. If we remove its lateral wall, which is formed by tympanic membrane, we can see it has a roof and floor, anterior and posterior wall, medial wall, and the lateral wall, which is formed by tympanic membrane, which we have removed to see inside the middle ear cavity. Now middle ear cavity is compressed from side to side. Both lateral and medial walls, they are bulging inside. That's why the medial and lateral walls are large while anterior and posterior walls are narrow. Its lateral wall is formed by tympanic membrane and medially it is related to inner ear. The part of middle ear cavity which lies against tympanic membrane is called tympanic cavity proper, while the part which lies above the tympanic membrane is called epitympanic recess. Its anteroposterior and vertical both diameters are 15 mm and other diameters are maximum at the roof 6 mm. Narrowest where the medial and lateral walls approximate, and this is 2 mm, while in the floor is about 4 mm. Now we will study each of the wall one by one and we will see the characteristic features of each of the wall. Now first of all, roof. Roof is formed by thin plate of bone that is called tegmen tympani. Tegmen tympani is part of petrous temporal bone. You have seen it on anterior sloping surface of petrous temporal bone. It is thin plate which forms the roof of the middle ear cavity. In young age, there is an unossified suture called petrosquamous suture which may allow the contact of middle ear cavity directly with meninges, but in adult age this suture is ossified and only transmit a vein to superior petrosal sinus. Because this wall or roof is formed by tegmen tympani, this wall is also called tegmental wall and it separates the middle ear cavity from middle cranial fossa. This is floor. Floor is formed by another thin plate of bone which separates it from the superior bulb of internal jugular vein. That's why the floor is also called jugular wall. In the floor, near the junction with its medial wall, there is a small opening. This opening is called tympanic canaliculus. This opening transmits tympanic branch of glossopharyngeal nerve to medial wall of middle ear, where it takes part in the formation of tympanic plexus. So the floor is formed by thin plate of bone which separates it from superior bulb of internal jugular vein. There is small opening near the medial wall which is called tympanic canaliculus, which transmits tympanic branch of glossopharyngeal nerve. After the roof and floor, next is anterior wall of the middle ear cavity. अब यहाँ से हम anterior wall को थोड़ा बड़े व्यू में लेते हैं ताकि हम आराम से फीचर्स को अंडरस्टैंड कर सकें. Now anterior wall is narrow as compared to medial and lateral walls due to approximation of the medial and lateral wall. Anterior wall in the upper part presents an opening which leads to canal called canal for tensor tympani. This canal contains a muscle which is called tensor tympani muscle. Then there is another opening in the anterior wall This opening leads to auditory tube or eustachian tube. So this is opening in the anterior wall for auditory or eustachian tube. Below this, the remaining part of anterior wall is formed by thin plate of bone which separates it, which forms posterior wall of the carotid canal and separates it from the internal carotid artery which is present in the carotid canal. So this is internal carotid artery which separates it from the two branches around sympathetic plexus around carotid artery. Two branches arise which perforate the anterior wall to enter in the middle ear cavity. These are called superior and inferior keratico-tympanic branches. These are sympathetic nerves. Then a small branch arises from internal carotid artery and enters the middle ear cavity. This is called tympanic branch from internal carotid artery. Now bony septum which separates these two openings, this bony septum extends posteriorly into medial wall and forms a shelf-like projection. Its posterior end is turned laterally. This is called processus cochleariformis. This is shelf-like projection from the bony septum which separates these two canals, and this provides pulley for the tendon of tensor tympani muscle which winds around it to reach the tympanic membrane. अभी हम इसको डिस्कस करते हैं. So anterior wall due to its relation to internal carotid artery is also called carotid wall. It presents an opening in the upper part that leads to canal for tensor tympani. Second opening in the middle part which leads to auditory tube. These tubes open in the nasopharynx. Then in the lower part, thin plate of bone which forms posterior wall of the carotid canal and separates it from the internal carotid artery. Two branches from sympathetic plexus which surround the internal carotid artery. They perforate the bone to reach the middle ear cavity. These are called superior and inferior keratico-tympanic branches. And one branch arises from the artery that is called tympanic branch. So these are important features of anterior wall. Now, posterior wall of the middle ear cavity. Posterior wall in the area of epitympanic recess presents an irregular opening. This opening leads to another air-filled cavity which lies behind the middle ear cavity which is called mastoid antrum. हम आगे जाके इसको पढ़ेंगे. This mastoid antrum. So this opening which is called auditus. Auditus means opening. Auditus which leads to an air-filled cavity that is called mastoid antrum. In the lower part, if you remember, we have studied in the facial nerve that facial nerve runs within bony canal which initially lies in the medial wall of the middle ear and then it runs behind the posterior wall of middle ear. So this is facial canal, but it does not produce any prominence or feature in the posterior wall, but actually at this level with the junction of medial wall there is a conical shape projection which is hollow from inside. This conical shape projection is called pyramid, which projects from the posterior wall near its junction with the medial wall. It is hollow from inside and there is a muscle, small muscle that is called stapedius which is present in this. And if you remember, when facial nerve passes through facial canal, it gives a branch to this muscle that is called nerve to stapedius. Then lateral to this pyramid there is small opening. This opening is called posterior canaliculus. This posterior canaliculus transmits cauda tympani branch from the facial nerve. Still lateral, there is a small depression, and this depression is called fossa incudis. Fossa incudis is a depression which lodges short process of incus. incus जो है वो ईयर के ऑसिकल्स में से एक बोन है, डेट इज कॉल्ड incus. अभी हम उसको पढ़ेंगे. So the posterior wall presents an orditus which leads to mastoid antrum. Conical shape projection that is hollow from inside, it is called pyramid, and it contains muscle that is stapedius muscle. Small opening which transmits chorda tympani branch of facial nerve called posterior canaliculus, and depression which is called fossa incudis which lodges short process of incus. It is a medial wall of the middle ear. It is also called a labyrinthine wall because it is related to inner ear. This is a most important wall of the middle ear cavity. Medial wall presents most important, that is a rounded bulge or elevation. This elevation is called promontory. This elevation is produced due to first turn of cochlea. Cochlea is a structure which is present in the inner ear. This promontory is grooved on its surface by a plexus that is called tympanic plexus. The next is postero-superior to promontory. There is an oval opening. This oval opening is called fenestra vestibuli. Fenestra means opening. Fenestra vestibuli, which leads to vestibule of the inner ear. This fenestra vestibuli or oval window or oval opening is closed by foot plate of stapes by a ligament that is called annular ligament. Then postero-inferior to promontory, there is a round opening that is called fenestra cochleae or round window, postero-inferior to promontory, and this leads to scala tympani of inner ear of cochlea in the inner ear, and it is closed by secondary tympanic membrane. Then near the roof in the medial wall there is a bony prominence or bulge which runs from anterior to posterior side, and ये हमने पहले भी देखा था facial nerve के साथ. This bulge is called facial nerve canal. This canal transmits facial nerve which initially runs from anterior to posterior side in the medial wall, then it runs behind the posterior wall of the middle ear cavity. Facial nerve runs in this canal. Superior to this prominence or elevation or bulge which is produced by facial nerve canal, there is another elevation in this part, and this elevation is produced due to lateral semicircular canal. In this view we can see the compressed lateral and medial walls. So this is cochlea which produce this bulge or elevation in the medial wall which is called promontory, and above and posterior to promontory there is oval window, and in the postero-inferior there is round window. So the important features of medial wall: a promontory elevation which is produced by first turn of cochlea, postero-superior to promontory fenestra vestibuli or oval window, postero-inferior to promontory round window or fenestra cochleae, bulge or elevation which is produced by bony facial canal, and then a prominence which is produced by lateral semicircular canal. In the medial wall we can see this hook-like projection which is called processus cochleariformis. We have just discussed with the anterior wall. So these are important features of medial wall. Lateral or membranous wall. is formed by tympanic membrane. Tympanic membrane आप पढ़ चुके हैं with the external ear, तो इसकी डिटेल हम डिस्कस नहीं करेंगे. So lateral wall is mainly formed by the tympanic membrane and partly in the region of epitympanic recess, where it is formed by squamous temporal and petrous temporal bones, where head of the malleus projects into epitympanic recess. As you know, tympanic membrane is surrounded by this fibrocartilaginous ring, which is projected into sulcus on superior surface of tympanic plate. Just above the upper end of this bony rim, there is a fissure that is called petrotympanic fissure, and a small opening which opens either into fissure or just in front of it, that is called anterior canaliculus. एंटीरियर कैनालिकुलस ट्रांसमिट्स कॉर्डा टेम्पनाई ब्रांच. अभी हमने पढ़ा था कि कॉर्डा टेम्पनाई ब्रांच पोस्टीरियर कैनालिकुलस से एंटर होती है और ये क्रॉस कर रही है नियर द टिम्पैनिक मेम्ब्रेन फ्रॉम पोस्टीरियर टू एंटीरियर साइड एंड लीव थ्रू एंटीरियर कैनालिकुलस और फिर इंफ्रा टेम्पोरल फोसा में एंटर हो जाती है. जो पीट्रो टिम्पैनिक फिशर है, इट ट्रांसमिट्स टिम्पैनिक ब्रांच ऑफ द maxillary artery. So this is lateral or membranous wall of middle ear cavity. Now this is final diagram showing you the relations and communications of the middle ear cavity, in which we have removed the lateral wall and we can see the other walls of the middle ear cavity. So in important relations, anterior wall is related to internal carotid artery, floor is related to internal jugular vein, while roof separates it from the meninges and temporal lobe of brain in the middle cranial fossa. It communicates anteriorly through auditory tube, which is also called Eustachian tube, with the nasopharynx. This auditory tube opens behind the inferior meatus of the nose in the nasopharynx. This tube basically transmits air and maintains the pressure between the ear and atmospheric pressure. Posteriorly, it communicates through auditus to mastoid antrum with an air-filled cavity that is called mastoid antrum and mastoid air cells. These mastoid air cells are present in the mastoid process, and we will discuss the mastoid antrum and mastoid air cells separately. Inferior wall is related to internal jugular vein, and in this diagram we can see the important features of all the walls of middle ear cavity. We have seen important features of the walls of tympanic cavity. Now we will discuss the contents of tympanic cavity. Tympanic cavity contain auditory ossicles, two muscles which are tensor tympani and stapedius muscles, the vessels which supply the tympanic cavity, nerves which include chorda tympani nerve, but it does not supply in the tympanic cavity, but actually it just passes through the cavity, and tympanic plexus which supplies the tympanic cavity, and obviously it is air filled cavity. The auditory ossicles form a mobile chain of small bones across the tympanic cavity from the tympanic membrane to oval window in the medial wall of middle ear. Now this is malleus with its head, neck and handle. The head projects into epitympanic recess while handle is attached to inner aspect of tympanic membrane where its tip is on the umbo. Head articulates with the body of incus. This is body, short process and long process of incus. The body of incus is also present in the epitympanic recess. At the end of its long process, there is lentiform nodule which articulates with head of stapes. Now this is stapes bone. This is head, neck and anterior and posterior limbs of the stapes, and this is foot plate of stapes, which is also called base of stapes, and it closes the oval window in the medial wall of tympanic cavity. two muscles which are associated with middle ear cavity. One is tensor tympani muscle. Tensor tympani muscle takes origin from base of the skull in the region of inferior surface of greater wing of sphenoid. Few fibers from cartilaginous part of auditory tube, and most of the fibers from the walls for canal for tensor tympani muscle. This muscle enters the middle ear cavity through opening in the anterior wall of middle ear cavity. Then its tendon wind around hook-like projection that is called processus cochleariformis and change its direction towards medial side. Now in this view we can see how the tendon winds around processus cochleariformis and changes its direction, and then it attached to handle of the malleus near its neck. Its name indicates when it contracts, it tenses the tympanic membrane. It maintains the inward convexity of tympanic membrane. Tensor tympani muscle is supplied by mandibular branch of trigeminal nerve. The next is stapedius muscle. Stapedius muscle arises from promontory, which is conical shaped projection from posterior wall of middle ear. It takes origin from the walls of this hollow promontory and the small tendon attached to the neck of stapes. Stapedius muscle is supplied by facial nerve. Now these both muscles reduce or control the oscillations of the tympanic membrane and footplate of stapes, and their effect is to protect the inner ear when one is exposed to loud sounds. The next is mastoid antrum. Mastoid antrum is another air-filled space or cavity which is present in the vitreous part of temporal bone behind this middle ear cavity. Mastoid antrum opens in the middle ear cavity in the area of epitympanic recess in its posterior wall that is called auditus to mastoid antrum. Now we can see the boundaries of mastoid antrum. The roof of the mastoid antrum is also formed by the same tegmen tympani bone which forms roof of the middle ear cavity. It separates the mastoid antrum from middle cranial fossa, which contains meninges and temporal lobe of brain. Anteriorly, mastoid antrum communicates with the middle ear cavity in the area of epitympanic recess through an auditus that is called auditus to mastoid antrum. Inferiorly, it is related to mastoid process which contains communicating air-filled spaces which are called mastoid ear cells. Posteriorly, it is separated by thin plate of bone which separates it from the sigmoid sinus and still posteriorly from the cerebellum. The vertical part of a facial canal present antero-inferior to mastoid antrum. When we view it from superior aspect, we can see the lateral and medial walls. So this is mastoid antrum posterior to middle ear cavity, and this one is auditus. This is facial nerve canal which is present antero-inferior to it. Its medial boundary is formed by petrous temporal bone, where lateral semicircular canal which is part of inner ear is present medial to it and produce prominence in its medial wall. Its lateral wall is formed by squamous temporal bone in the region of suprameatal triangle. Suprameatal triangle, also called McEwen triangle, is bounded superiorly by supramastoid crest, antero-inferiorly by postero-superior margin of external equistic meatus, and posteriorly by a line drawn which join the two boundaries. Now this is the area from where we can approach the mastoid antrum. In the young children it is only 1 to 2 mm in thickness, but it reaches 15 mm thickness maximum in adult age. So we can approach the mastoid antrum in this area in the mastoid abscess. Now finally, infection of the middle ear cavity, that is called otitis media. ओटाइटिस मीडिया की कॉम्प्लिकेशंस को आप तब अंडरस्टैंड कर सकेंगे जब आपको मिडल ईयर कैविटी के रिलेशंस अच्छे से आते हों। यही वजह है कि हमने रिलेशंस पे इतना एम्फसाइज किया। ओटाइटिस मीडिया या इन्फेक्शन यूजुअली असेंड्स इन द मिडल ईयर कैविटी थ्रू एरिया ऑफ फेरिंग्स। जो सॉर थ्रोट्स होते हैं या फेरेंजाइटिस इन्फेक्शंस इन दिस एरिया, अब ये एक कम्युनिकेशन है यहाँ से middle ear cavity में, so infections ascend through this auditory tube in the middle ear. When the infection and inflammation, there is a swelling of mucosa, congestion हो जाएगी both of the openings. This anterior communication to nasopharynx and posterior to mastoid antrum, both they are closed, due to which there is raised pressure, and due to pus formation and closure of these cavities, there is increased pressure. This pressure will affect first of all tympanic membrane, which is present on the lateral wall of the tympanic cavity. Infection can spread laterally. In this direction, it will involve the tympanic membrane. Initially, it causes bulging and redness, but if the infection persists, it may lead to perforation and pus discharge from the external ear. बट पस डिस्चार्ज से फ़ायदा ये होगा कि विद इन मिडल ईयर कैविटी प्रेशर जो एब्सेस या पस की वजह से हो रहा था वो रिलेटिवली कम हो जाएगा, तो पेन रिलेटिवली डिक्रीज़ हो जाएगी। ये कॉमन कॉम्प्लिकेशन है क्योंकि एंटीबायोटिक्स की यूज़ की वजह से अब कॉम्प्लिकेशंस का रेट रिलेटिवली कम है। कॉम्प्लिकेशंस में हम देखते हैं कि अगर इन्फेक्शन स्प्रेड कर रहा है और थिन प्लेट जो टेगमेंट टेम्पनाई है, रूफ बना रही है, अगर ये प्लेट को इरोड करता है तो इट मे लीड टू मिडल क्रेनियल फोसा। वहाँ पर इनिशियली मेनिंजिस को इन्वॉल्व करेगा, काज मेनिंजाइटिस, और उससे भी ज़्यादा स्प्रेड करे तो फिर इवन एब्सेस भी कर सकता है इन द टेम्पोरल लोब। अगर ये पोस्टीरियरली इस डायरेक्शन में एक्सटेंड करता है तो यहाँ पर मेस्टॉइड एंट्रम है, तो सेकेंडरी इन्फेक्शन हो जाएगा मेस्टॉइड एंट्रम का, विच विल रिजल्ट इन मेस्टॉइडाइटिस। इसकी फिर अलग से अपनी कॉम्प्लिकेशंस हैं। इफ इट involves inferiorly floor, it may involve internal jugular vein and sigmoid sinus and may cause thrombosis in these areas. Medially, it is related to inner ear, so there may be infection or inflammation of the inner ear cavity. In the inner ear, it will produce labyrinthitis and symptoms of inner ear involvement like tinnitus or vertigo. In the medial wall, there is a facial nerve which runs in the facial canal. It can involve the facial nerve and results in facial nerve palsy. So हमने देखा कि रिलेशंस कितने इम्पॉर्टेंट हैं, और अगर क्रोनिक ओटाइटिस मीडिया हो जाए तो ये किस तरह से कॉम्प्लिकेट कर सकता है इफ़ इट इज़ अनट्रीटेड। सो दिस वॉज ऑल अबाउट ग्रॉस एनाटमी ऑफ मिडल ईयर कैविटी। अब इसके कुछ क्लिनिकल कोरिलेट्स एंड ब्लड एंड नर्व सप्लाई हम इसके सेकेंड पार्ट में पढ़ेंगे।